if you've heard anything, you probably think that marketing is essentially the same as sales. Well, today I'm going to give you the basics of marketing, and my goal is for the end of this lesson for you to realize why marketing is the opposite of sales or selling. So the first thing we're really going to talk about is what all marketers know and call the value proposition. So this is going to be lesson 1, value proposition. So what exactly do firms offer, right? You're a customer and you're walking down the street and you see all these signs of offers, or maybe you're online and you're looking for a product. So what do firms really offer? And we split this into 2 things, right? First, there's the product value. So you can imagine when you're buying a product, this is the actual product that firms are offering you to buy. It includes features, which we call the has or has-nots. And for example, you can think of like, a duffel bag or something, right? The features are, you got this big bag, can hold whatever you need, and then a bunch of pockets, there's side zipper, all those features. Maybe that's what you're looking for. And the other thing that firms offer is image value. So this is the self-expressive features of the brand itself, as opposed to the product that the brand offers. So for example, something with a lot of image value is, Stanford University. Why? Because we all know what Stanford is. It's a very recognizable name. They have a ton of recognition and prestige. They have a lot of image value. And that's why students pay so much to go there, right? And in return for this offer, firms, they are asking the customer for a couple of things as well. So in return, they're asking for monetary cost, right? Of course, the cost of actually getting the product. They're asking for time cost. This is the time that you spend, looking at different offers or watching advertisements, whatever it is. And then we have energy cost, which is essentially how difficult is this buying decision. So a firm that makes it very easy to convince you to buy something is a firm that is doing great marketing. So what is an example of this? Well, an example of great value proposition. We have, for one thing, is Amazon, right? I mean, they are like practically the biggest company out there. And why? Well, one piece of their value proposition is this little offer right here. Buy now, 1 click. That makes buying is easy, the decision itself, right? Just 1 click and instant payment. Their search function is also superior, right? Because you can search for basically any product you want, and they have a subscription service as well. So what's so great about Prime? And why do so many of Amazon's customers use it? Well, Prime essentially manipulates your perception of the cost, right? You got this huge free right here, makes you think that shipping is free. Even if it is or not, it doesn't really matter because you believe that it is, you as the customer. And then look at this. We call this in marketing, not only, but also. So they got your attention by saying that this is free delivery. You sign up for Prime, now it's free delivery. But then in addition to that, you got all these other offers, not only that, but also all these things. And it doesn't even matter how valuable these things are, right? Like 2-hour delivery, same day, 1 day. These two are basically the same thing. But they offer you so many other benefits that you're convinced to buy Prime, regardless of how free it actually is, since you are paying a yearly subscription. And it really just, in total, reduces the customer's effort when they're shopping. Reduced effort. which is always a good thing because we don't want the customer to spend energy. We want them to just choose immediately. And another example, really different from Amazon of a great value proposition is KFC in China. Why? Well, if you've ever visited China, you would know that there's a ton of street vendors. Street vendors everywhere. And then every so often you'll come across this huge sign, super bright, really recognizable. It's the KFC kernel, right? And their offer is certainty. Because with all these other street vendors just selling chicken, on the street, you don't really know what you're going to get. Like, it could be good, it could be not so good, but KFC is always going to be the same, and it's always going to be delicious. So we really are highlighting two different things right now: image value versus product value. Ideally, you would want these two to both be strong, but in the meantime, let's give some examples of what works in terms of other companies, right? So for image value, imagine Polo, Ralph Lauren, or Lauren, whatever it is. You recognize that like man riding the horse, that image value for the people that do buy Polo, right? Or another big one is Burberry. They have that iconic plaid look that a lot of people love, and just the name Burberry itself is very attractive to a lot of customers, which is why they're so successful. And then product value, maybe you have a piece of clothing that is structurally really good and it's super comfortable and warm, but it's not really branded, right? So like Gildan itself, they're cheap and they get the job done. They don't really show off their logo, and they work. It's a good product without great image value. So as a firm, if you were to imagine yourself as a firm, what would you have to offer? So as a product, we'll give an example of a car, right? So let's look at this Tesla supercar. Well, what do we have to offer? We have features. Features are all going to be inside of this console, inside of the car, right? Because they have that huge TV in the Tesla. The design, obviously. Design is very sleek and attractive. And the performance, which is why they show it driving so fast. And it's a very action-oriented shot. So this is what we're offering, if we're Tesla. And for image value, we're offering, imagine Burberry, we're offering you to look like this, you to look like prestigious and high fashion. That is the offer that they're giving us, which is why they price their clothes at that price. So let's look at some very common misconceptions with marketing. Handmade. So if you're on Instagram, you probably see, a lot of your friends are selling like little trinkets or necklaces that they made themselves. And, it's not a bad thing at all, but handmade in marketing is not necessarily good. Not necessarily good. Why? Because customer benefit is not the same as engineering design. And to understand this, we really want to employ something called product thinking, which is basically like thinking in terms of the product itself, not what got the product there, right? Because making an easy product, I'm assuming that whatever you're selling on Instagram is going to be easy if you made it yourself, doesn't actually cater to customers. At the end of the day, the only thing the customers are getting is that good, that final finished product of the good. So if you're marketing that it's handmade, that could work, but there's a ton of other companies that are probably doing the same thing. If it is an easy product, there's definitely more companies doing the same thing, and they're probably doing it better. So it's not a terrible idea, but it's not really going to get you there, right? So we have some unique examples of customer benefit. And here, I think this one's pretty funny, but it's basically a bar that markets itself as a husband daycare center. Why? Because you're in this part of town, which is for tourists. You're a wife, you're with your husband, and you want to have your alone time, right? So you walk past, you're going through downtown, you see the sign, hey, I can leave my husband here while I go shopping. Well, it says shopping, but go shopping or go relax or whatever it is. And then boom, husband's happy, you're happy, and the bar is making money from that. So something that a company might have gotten wrong is Samsung. Well, Samsung Galaxies have a feature called the curved screen, right? And then, I'm sure you've seen the ads where they just show off like the side of the phone and it's all curved and everything, and then boom, you go to the store and buy an iPhone, right? And why is that? Because customers do not benefit from a curved screen. It just doesn't really do anything. I mean, it looks cool, right? It looks cool enough, but are we really going to benefit from that? No. And that's not to say that Samsung Galaxies aren't, popular or successful. It's just they spent a ton of money marketing that feature and it didn't really work. That's not where their money is mostly coming from, right? So essentially the point I'm trying to get across is that customers need to care about your product's features, at least the ones that you're marketing. That is one of the most important points that we want to learn today. So for example, some marketing phrases you might have seen: imported from France on a wine bottle. So do customers care about this? Well, no, they do not, because people from California actually prefer wine from, California, specifically Napa Valley. So if you're marketing this to people from California, it's not really that valuable, and there's better things to say, right? Or for example, a phrase called founded in 1984. Like you might have seen something like this when you're, driving past a store or in a town. Do people care about this? Because I don't think anyone actually said, hey, I'm going to go to this store because it was founded in 1984. Like that's just sort of silly. So basically, be really cautious of what you are marketing in terms of the phrases that you're using. So what are some things that customers might actually care about? Customers might care about, well, it's new. When new products come out, it usually actually excites customers, right? Or the design of the product itself, or the efficacy of it. Like, hey, this works better than that, right? Like, oh, iPhones work better than Samsungs, they're buggy, or whatever. Durability. If you guys remember, like Nokia phones, like you could like throw them across into the ocean and they still work. Durability. That might work. The convenience in use, so like a shaving cream in a can, like in an aerosol can, that's good, right? Because you just spray it on yourself, it works instantly. Very convenient. We care about that. A guarantee, so like a low price or a money back guarantee, stuff like that. Those are good, especially for products that are higher in terms of monetary cost, so like cars. And these are all product related, right? So what about image? Well, we have status. We've seen that status is really big in terms of attracting customers, right? We want a product that makes us seem cool or modern, wealthy, And then we have the image value for like how we appear to others. So, or how we affect others as well. So like, this value comes from like products that are environmentally friendly, or products that are frugal, products that or organic, just things that help us and others as well, and they're not negatively impacting other people. And affiliates as well, or affiliative. So, for example, image value from like a sports team, or like your favorite your favorite musician. Products related to those, it makes you feel like you're part of that group or you're an affiliate. So the cost that we as customers get, right, is cash. We got the cost in service, so like the total cost of it all, to get the product and then get it to us, and that's like shipping, and then our time and energy, which is just as important. So firms themselves, their goal is to offset this cost by trying to delight the customers. And when a customer is delighted, they no longer care about the hit that their bank took, basically. So how do you do this if you're a firm or you're a marketer in a firm, right? Number one, you want to listen to your customers carefully. These are the people that are actually taking your business and they want to make the best use of it. And if they're having problems, they're going to make it known. And that's a good thing. That's definitely a good thing. Even if they're giving you bad, like, what is it called? Like responses, right? So we want to meet their needs instead of trying to convince them to buy a product. So we don't want to like beg them to and convince them and just us doing the talking. We want to listen to what they need and then provide it to them so that they will go out and get it instead of us trying to tell them, hey, like buy this now. And this is, all going back to the main point of why marketing is really the opposite of selling, right? And then number two, we want to anticipate their needs. So for example, like banking companies will send out your new checkbook right when you run out, right? And then when you receive that, you're like, oh wow, like I didn't even realize I was about to run out. That's so cool that they knew that. It's kind of weird. It's kind of a little bit mind blowing, right? But that's them doing their job of delighting you because they have that on record, and they know when you need a new one. Sending you a checkbook. Anticipating your customers' needs is a really good way to keep them as a loyal customer. And lastly, we want to emphasize a relationship. So what does that mean? Instead of just one transaction, we want returning customers. Like that's why boba stores will have a promotion that's like buy 9, get the 10th free, because that incentivizes you to keep going to that store 9 times. They're making profit 9 times, and then they're like, hey, at this point, we'll just give you a free one because you're loyal, right? And then there's also something like, oh, I'm sorry you had a bad experience. Please enjoy this for free. So, for example, for subscription companies, when you're about to cancel, they'll maybe tell you like, oh, instead of canceling, we'll give you a month free, and then you can think about it, because they want to keep the relationship. So free ? To save relationship. So at the end of the day, a firm will incur a higher cost from losing you entirely versus giving you one thing for free, right? Okay, so why is marketing the opposite of selling? The opposite. Selling. Well, when you're marketing a product, you're basically making your product known. Like if you're a consumer, you're just watching YouTube, all of a sudden there's ads, and then without even knowing it, you become aware of some product. And that's marketing. And selling is more like you going out and telling people why they should buy your product. But marketing is like you're putting your product up, giving them a really quick message of why they should buy it, and then trying to get them to remember this so that they go out and seek you instead of you going out and seeking them as a sales representative. So that is going to be the end of today's little lecture. Next time, we will be going over the marketing mix.